Right now at 5, break out the boots and the shovels. 2 snow systems are set to hit the area in the coming days, and Lonnie Quinn is tracking it all.
They yanked him down the stairs and shot him.
A mother's heartache. Her son was killed trying to protect his own daughter. Now police are searching for his killer.
A woman on the prowl, police say, for purses. The suspected serial thief accused of targeting women while they shop.
And resolution fails. Some people already giving up on their goals. What you can do to avoid falling back into old bad habits. Good evening. I'm Maurice Dubois.
And I'm Christine Johnson, now on CBS2 and streaming on CBSN New York. The tri-state area is now gearing up for 2 winter storms, one expected to begin in just hours.
The other forecast for the weekend, it could drop more than half a foot in some places. Lonnie Quinn here in the Weather Center tracking it all, where we're getting a better look at the storms today. Right now, Lonnie.
Okay. Starting to see the clouds fill in throughout the area. You see the picture behind me. If you take a look at what the radar is serving up to go along with this, we're just now starting to see a few of the leading snowflakes get close to our area. Really, they're still back into Pennsylvania, so I'll show you what that looks like as well. You can see it right here. This is not a huge storm to begin with, but you can see it's, making its way through Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, pushing towards Williamsport. It will get in here. Looks like sometime around midnight, maybe a little bit before midnight, maybe a little bit after midnight, but that's when the snow makes its way into New York City. And then I think there's going to be a little bit of a transition tomorrow morning into that wintry mix with some rain involved. So how much are we talking about? The numbers are not large because there's not a lot of available moisture to make snow or ice out of. We're talking anywhere from a trace around the shoreline up to maybe 3 inches or so up into the Catskills for your day tomorrow. It's an early mix, so you can start off with some snow, switches over, okay? So you get that rain, sleet, snow combo there in the morning. You want to watch out for slick spots as you make your drive in, especially north of the city, but your high temperature gets up to about 41 degrees. As for the big weekend storm, it's about 8 times as large a storm in terms of, precipitable water and the amount of snow you could make with it. But here's the deal with it. The track has now made a slight push further west. And that's more of a rain solution for many people, especially along the metro areas. A little bit of a push, not a big one, but a little bit of a push. I'll show you that. Significant icing is going to end up being a big part of this story, especially maybe, just outside New York City, maybe even into the city. But it's going to end up being a big story, the icing portion. Winter storm watches have already been issued. I'll show you those as well. It does include all 5 boroughs. Less snow now on the backside as it exits, but we have a lot to talk about a little bit later in this newscast. So let me toss it back to you guys.
Okay, Lonnie, thank you.
Preparations underway across the region for this double round of snow. Salt spreaders were out earlier in the week, prepping streets across the 5 boroughs.
And the city is hoping now to not repeat the mistakes from last November's snowstorm. CBS 2's Jessica Layton live in Lower Manhattan tonight, with more on the city's plan to avoid this. Jessica?
Yeah, Christina, Maurice, the city is still feeling the heat after that hot mess of a response to the storm that we got in November. The pressure really on to be better prepared this time, and it starts tonight.
We are planning to be able to plow a foot of snow.
Over-preparing on the part of city agencies that got blasted by the public after the debacle that was the response to this storm in November, when a few inches of snow shut down the city.
We learned from that event, and we're all leaning forward, so we're doing more sooner. As a result of November's incident.
At an afternoon news conference, the mayor doubled down on that, saying the city is taking what the National Weather Service says for snow accumulation and multiplying it by 4.
As the WHO once said, we won't be fooled again.
In November, an accident shut down the George Washington Bridge, causing backups for miles that crippled city traffic. Plows couldn't get through the jams. The roads were an icy mess. This time, they say there are more plows and salt spreaders positioned throughout the city for tonight's storm as well as the weekends.
You talk about DOT, they have some equipment pre-deployed at their bridges. The same thing with the MTA and the Port Authority. Naturally, airports, highways, tunnels, wherever they ever experience problems where they think they need plowing or spreading first, that's where they'll pre-deploy this equipment to.
Equipment tonight and tomorrow includes 700 salt spreaders and 1,000 plows, and they'll add 600 plows to the fleet on Sunday. There's already been salt on 57th Street for a few days. One of the biggest failures last time was the lack of urgent messaging to city residents. This time, the commissioners want to be clear.
I am telling you right now, for the event over the weekend, you should not be on the roads. We are going to have rain, temperatures are going to drop. That could create flash freeze events and a lot of icing.
To that point, we cannot stress enough how dangerous things could be Saturday night into Sunday and then Sunday into Monday with all of that freezing and icing. As you heard the commissioner say, stay off the roads. If you must be out, try to use mass transit. Live from Lower Manhattan tonight, Jessica Layton, CBS 2 News.
Jessica, thank you. A father makes the ultimate sacrifice when he is killed trying to protect his daughter from an apparent robbery in Brooklyn. CBS 2's Hazel Sanchez spoke with the victim's family as police try to track down the killer.
43-year-old Philip Scarlett and his daughter Tyra enjoyed spending time together and were very close. Scarlett's mother, Janet Howell, says her 14-year-old granddaughter is lost after her father sacrificed his life to save hers.
That moment he was just trying to protect his daughter, and that's what happened.
On Sunday afternoon, Philip Scarlett was at his girlfriend's apartment at the Kingsborough houses in Crown Heights, Brooklyn. Scarlett's family says Tyra went to meet him there to get money for her grandmother and to do laundry. When she arrived, two masked men attacked her right outside the apartment door.
And that's when she cried out for daddy, and he came out and realized what was going on, and he grabbed her and tossed her in the house, and he was struggling to keep them out of the house, and they yanked him down the stairs and shot him.
Surveillance video captured these images of the two suspects who took off. Scarlett's daughter tells CBS 2 News her father's girlfriend emptied his pockets before police arrived. And Tyra says the girlfriend waited 3 days before giving her family the cash and wallet Scarlett had on him when he was shot. A bullet hole piercing through it and everything inside, including a W-2 form.
So you can see right where the bullet went through.
Scarlett's family says they were never convinced he was a random target because they say he never believed in banks. He often carried a lot of cash in his pockets.
That's my nephew. He didn't deserve that.
I need justice for him because he never. This is uncalled for.
Police believe robbery was likely the motive, but aren't sure the shooters took anything from Scarlett's body. So far, they've made no arrests. In Crown Heights, Hazel Sanchez, CBS 2 News.
Scarlett, a native of Jamaica, moved to New York 3 years ago. He leaves behind 4 children. An 84-year-old woman is dead after a fire at an apartment building in Jamaica, Queens, overnight. It began just before 11:30 last night at 91st Street near Merrick Boulevard. It took about 150 firefighters an hour and a half to get it under control. At least 5 other people were hurt, including an 85-year-old man who had to be rescued. The cause of the fire is under investigation.
Shoppers beware. Tonight, police are searching for a serial shoplifter, but it's not stores that they say that this woman is targeting. CBS 2's Tara Jakeway has more.
The woman in this video is making a purchase at a beauty counter, but that's not her credit card. She's the person police are looking for in connection with a string of larcenies, now up to 13 across 2 boroughs. They're cautioning folks to be extra alert while shopping, because in this instance, she swiped credit cards right from people's pockets, then swiped them at other stores like Uniqlo.
You have to be very alert, I guess, and stores are very congested these days.
Shoppers outside the 34th Street store reacting to the pattern, holding their bags a little tighter.
Usually I don't like to have my book bag on my back. I like to have it like this.
Show us how you wear it.
So I usually wear it like this when I'm around really crowded places. I put my hand over it.
Mark Novak of Global Security Group says she's on to something.
You don't want to carry a lot of your valuables, if you will, in backpacks, simply because of the fact that you don't have control of it. It's very simple for someone to come up and actually unzip that.
He says shoppers now need to be aware of their surroundings and choose their accessories wisely.
A fanny pack, something attached to the body. Handbags, it's always recommended you keep it in front of your body.
Also to keep valuables out of back pockets. Cell phones are among the loot the woman has stolen from shoppers from June through December at stores including Zara and H&M. She's captured on camera multiple times leaving the stores. Police describe her as being 25 to 35 years old, last seen wearing sunglasses and dark clothing. She's hitting the most pedestrian-heavy areas in the city, like right here in Herald Square, where 4 of the locations are just a block away. In Midtown Manhattan, Tara Jakeway, CBS 2 News.
On day 27 now of the government shutdown, the president is trying to make sure that the Speaker of the House is going nowhere.
Mr. Trump trying to delay a congressional trip led by Nancy Pelosi. CBS 2's Dick Brennan here with more details on that. Dick.
Christine and Maurice, the Speaker was planning a trip abroad with other congressional members, but the president denied her a military plane in what appears to be an extraordinary back and forth between 2 of the most powerful people in the Capitol.
I'm not for a wall. I'm not for a wall. I'm not for a wall.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, a day after she asked the president to postpone the State of the Union address in light of what she calls security concerns due to the government shutdown. No response from the White House until today. Another letter from the president to the speaker this time. He writes, "Due to the shutdown, I'm sorry to inform you that your trip to Brussels, Egypt, and Afghanistan has been postponed. We will reschedule this 7-day excursion when the shutdown is over. Obviously, if you would like to make your journey by flying commercial, that would certainly be your prerogative." Mr. Trump added that he preferred the speaker to remain in Washington to negotiate, and at a speech at the Pentagon, he blamed Pelosi for the shutdown.
Speaker Pelosi will not let them negotiate. The party has been hijacked by the open borders fringe within the party.
The trip cancellation came just about an hour before the flight was set to leave, and some congressional members were already on a bus that would take them to it. The move to deny military aircraft to the speaker, second in line to the presidency and heading to a war zone, left many dumbfounded. Trump ally Lindsey Graham criticized both leaders, tweeting, "One sophomoric response does not deserve another." House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff was supposed to be on the trip.
I can't say that all too often in the last 2 years the president has acted like he's in the 5th grade. And to have someone who has that kind of character running the country is an enormous problem at every level.
Now, a spokesperson for Speaker Pelosi said the trip included a pilot rest stop in Brussels that was required, where she would meet with top NATO commanders. And the Speaker's office said the trip to Afghanistan did not include a stop in Egypt. They say the purpose of the trip was to express appreciation to the men and women in uniform. Christina Maurice.
Okay, Dick, thank you.
New information tonight on calls for changes after the deadly train crash at the Hoboken train station. In 2016, an NJ Transit train plowed through a barrier at the station, killing a woman on the platform. More than 100 passengers and crew also injured. Now, New Jersey Congressman Albio Cirrus has now introduced a bill that would require federal regulators to notify Congress when a railroad or transit agency is being investigated. Cirrus says at the time of this fatal crash, NJ Transit was under an undisclosed audit for safety violations.
Just ahead, slacking on the job. Another black guy for the LIRR with allegations against workers hired to help the homeless.
Plus, see the innovative new housing project aimed at helping adults with autism find independence.
And how are your New Year's resolutions doing? Did they fall to the wayside? How to reboot them and stay on track? Just ahead on CBS2 and CBS in New York.